Hi, everyone. I just wanted to go through some numbers, just estimates that we think may happen and will likely happen. Not necessarily guaranteed to happen, but there's a strong likelihood. And we've actually taken information from third parties who are knowledgeable in their areas of expertise and given us some information. So I'll go through that just in a little bit. And my intent to here is to show why villa short-term rental in Turks and Caicos is so popular. It's really interesting. It's an interesting dynamic that I've really never experienced coming from Canada. So this is why there's so much opportunity. It really starts with the rates. Turks and Caicos has some of the highest, maybe not if not the highest ADRs or nightly rates of the whole Caribbean. And you can see this is what they're reflected in. Now these numbers here are actually from a property manager who manages a number of different villas and gave us his opinion on what we think we can get in the project in Turtletail that we're doing based on the designs that we've done. And so you can see here, this is where all the numbers come into play. And so interestingly enough, it ranges from 2360 around Christmas time, here down to as a low 1640. Now that takes up a lot of time. So that takes up like 148 days, right? A little under half. As well as in low season, you can see the occupancy rates are significantly lower. And we always suggest if you do have friends or family or even yourself, you probably want to go into the visit on a low season so you're not jeopardizing this higher income here, right? That's something that you want to, and that's really the benefit of having a villa is this is a great profit center, but you can also enjoy it because it's only going to be used half the time, which is really a benefit. At the end of the day, what we use as a benchmark is the ADR, that nightly rate is on average is going to be, and that's a weighted average, it's going to be 1862, and the occupancy is 44%, with a total revenue, not including costs, but revenue of 302,000. So what does that mean for investments? Let's go through that now. So you can see here, this is again, these are the numbers that we just went through, really critical. So the gross revenue is 302,000. Now, I've also included some numbers that we feel that are fairly accurate. So you have your referral fees from Airbnb or VRBO, and obviously the longer you have your villa, the less you're dependent on Airbnb and VRBO because you're going to get direct bookings, which means that you don't actually have to pay this, right? So that's the key. And that actually what's happening. You build up, you have a great property, you have great management, great service. You're just going to have ongoing and regular clients coming back to your specific villa in Turks and Caicos. The property management, this is all over the board. We feel like 15% is for a good manager, that's typically what they look for. And the landscaping and pool maintenance, we're going to say that's going to be about $1,000 a month. Furniture and fixed furniture and furnishings replacement, that's your couches and maybe outside furniture that's going to get beat up over the course of the renting out. So we just put in a fund that you just budget $5,000 a year. That should just be replacement. Obviously, you're not going to replace anything in the first year, but it's going to build up, and then after say 5 years, you just replace everything. Utilities, now it's $1,000. Now this is going to be maybe a little low because we actually have our plan for this is to have solar, and so we'll be generating our own power, and AC is going to be your biggest expense, and so obviously we're going to make that as efficient as possible and go through it. And then lastly, insurance, depending on the level of insurance that you get on deductibles and such. So we just put in a $5,000 number. So you can see the total cost based on these numbers, these variables, relative to the revenue. So we've got about 192, or let's say call it 200,000 in profit. So that's basically what we're looking at. Now, the benefit of owning your own place, let's say starting a build and selling it, is you can actually make money selling the property. So instead of hanging on to it, and so you want to start the build, but don't hang on to it and actually just sell it, right? And that's what a lot of people do is they'll while it's being built, they'll put a for sale sign and it could very well sell before you actually finish. And so what we did is we figured out, okay, what are the, again, different variables? So lot cost, we're going to say is around 500,000. There's some cost like getting the legal documents all written up. So that's about a percentage. Stamp duty is 10%. Now, I mentioned this in another video. The benefit of building versus buying is you're only paying 10% on the lot, not the whole build, right? Not on the 4.5 million. You're only doing it on the real estate. So that's a real benefit, as opposed to if you were to build an existing home, you would be paying on the full, this 10% on the full amount. So that's key. So that's the 10%. And this is so we got the design permits to get those done, lot development, that's moving the dirt around, making sure it's structural and such. And then what I did is I put in a number $600, and that's a number that's going to range depending on the build and depending on the market. Right now, we're in a very tight market. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of builds happening. There's a lot of excitement. And some of the bigger projects like Kapinski and St. Regis and Lorraine and some of these other ones are taking up a lot of labor. So there's not a lot of labor left to build the home. And because of that, rates are actually going up. So I'm going to put in $600 a square foot to build, but that rate could go up depending on what the market is determined. Now, if we take into account all these numbers here, you can see here the total cost is about $2.5 million. Now, what I did is I asked one of the top realtors on the island, Ian Hurdle. Ian is the founder and director of the agency. As well, he's the current TCREA, that's the Realtor Association on the island. He's the current president. And so what he feels that this value of the home that we have is 4.5 million. And it actually could be more, but he feels that it's going to be at least 4.5. And depending on the finishes and the brands that we typically use, that could be even higher. So this is the buildings that we're looking at. You can see here, most importantly, there's a pickleball court, but this is right on the Salina. And so that is that's the look. So if we look at that and we take that 4.5 at face value, you can see the total value, total potential profit, again, not guaranteed, but potential, is close to $2 million on there. And the question then becomes is, do you want to take the $2 million or do you want to hang on to it and presuming that it's going to continue to go up and just earn $192,000 a year? So that's basically what you're looking at as far as your potential. So this, in a nutshell, is why building in Turks and Caicos for short-term rental is very attractive. All right, hope you've learned something. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Take care.